What up, everybody? This is Jim, JFX, the 519 School of Hip Hop. Just checking in here to say what up and give myself an opportunity to do a little bit of a debrief, reflection, journaling, while the inspiration and the emotions and all these sorts of, like different types of movements throughout the community and including myself, the family. While all that's fresh, I just wanted to hop on here and again stay true and try to keep my promise that I made earlier this year to continue showing up for myself, whether it's a quick minute check-in or a 12-minute conversation with myself or including other guests. But this is another, episode one, meaning that it's always a fresh one. We know what we're trying to reference is the lesson from the past, but also learning how to be more present, intentionally, actively present, and then also feel prepared with a sense of confidence and awareness heading into the future with a lot of unknowns, but of course as much of a certainty as possible that we can somewhat predict to have a sense of, safety, stability, but just in terms of like a positive experience, of course, it's good to have some sort of preparation. But another thing that I want to speak on and continue reflecting on more is that letting go of the control, and just accepting that some things are just simply beyond your control. And I personally experienced that with a few just mishaps in life, whether it's a car issue or some house problems, and the way it happened, and just how it tested me and others around me to see how we deal with it was really the lesson in disguise. So I don't ever want for these things to happen, but when they do, I just now feel a little bit more aware and alert with the idea of like, okay, how should I react to this? Emotions will kick in, but is that all that's going to dictate in terms of what moves that I need to make to, rectify the situation or do any kind of a damage control or just pivot and adapt to the new circumstances? And in terms of pivoting and adaptation, like we certainly had a good dosage of that when we just opened this place in 2020, which is crazy to think. 6 years ago, we started this journey almost. So now, 5-6 years later, I've also become a lot more comfortable in speaking on some of those experiences and lessons. Not all lessons are easy. They're not meant to be, just casual little nudges and reminders. Some lessons come, like straight to your face, like a punch in the face. And they have residual impact and effect as well on yourself, relationships, community. And that's definitely another area of learning that I've had plenty of, but never enough. This year, whether that's some great doors opening for the new movement that's being made throughout the city, throughout our own studio and the school here, and with those doors opening, some need to close. And as open as we'd like to be, as open-minded as I want to be, there are some things that I realized I needed to keep up as boundaries to make sure that I am protecting those around me and us, and just standing clear, standing with more confidence and more, willingness to defend that stance through action, through words, through, inspiring change. And a lot of that has really been that mirroring effect where, what I see myself in everyone. I see myself in a lot of the, struggles that people and community groups are having. It's a shared challenge, so we can empathize in that way, but at the same time, like if I see somebody doing well, like I've been definitely trying to see myself like them. So reverse engineering or trying to make points of like our common ground, and just even like being able to chop it up with Mr. Wiggles this past week with all the unimaginable sort of unexpected circumstances that piled on top of an amazing time that we knew we would have had. Hosting someone of that stature and experience and knowledge, in this like humble home of 519 School of Hip Hop. So that also gave me a lot of perspective and assurance that I am on the path that was laid out for me well before I chose it, well before I discovered it. And also me being much more grounded and in alignment with the belief that that is what we're actually here to do with pretty much everyone that walks into the studio, into 519. And that's a huge load of responsibility, and I'm now once again realizing the magnitude of that, and like the gravity of that collective responsibility. And I said collective because of course at the end of the day my name would be was tied to, let's say, a legal entity in any sense, or someone that could say like, yes, I was one of the founding members of the crew or studio or whatever. But what we're currently experiencing, what we're currently I guess like taking on to convert into something even more positive, productive, that is of course the result of collective effort over the last like decade plus. If we're talking about hip hop in general, like it's the last 50 years, like half a century plus of pioneers and living legends and all the OGs that have paved the ways before hip hop, that gave birth to this movement, this music, this culture. So I'm just starting to see more of that connection as I also get further in touch with my own lineage and my heritage as a Korean Canadian immigrant, and becoming a dad last year, 2024, and having lived the first year, going into second year as a father to the single-handedly the most amazing thing that has happened to my life and my wife's life as a family. Like that again is another massive amount of responsibility that I've felt that I needed to really be present for. So I say all this to say I think that is what's been helping me see things with a lot more clarity, even though I feel like at times things are just blurry because it's moving so fast. I'm maybe paying attention to so many things, or maybe I'm being pulled into so many different directions, but just always being reminded that the home is where the family is, home is where I feel most safe, and home is where I would like people around me to feel safe because of the effort and the heart that I'm putting in and others into this very space. And as far as like year one goes, yes, 2025 is without a doubt the most memorable like year we've had. That I feel confident will still be active going into next year as their year two. If they had just discovered us this past year, or just last month, or have not yet decided, have not yet made it into this space, there's still plenty of day ones that we potentially may have or we never have. And that also excites me, right? The yes and no's, the culture heads, the vultures, ones that appreciate the culture, ones that appropriate it without even like trying to understand the harm behind that. So all these points that I'm making right now is now tethered to this principle and the philosophy we have at 519 School of Hip Hop, where it's a creative hub for all things hip hop, culture, arts, and wellness. I know it covers a lot, but that's what we're all capable of. I think everyone here on this planet, in this universe, like, we have that capacity to give, as long as we are, I think, I guess, like, that, even that in and of itself is a privilege, right? Being able to give something back. So at the very least, if you're able to show up for yourself, right? Give yourself that amount of time, attention, energy, then maybe from that you can start to apply that on others around you. And that's really the main lesson that I'm trying to stick to and continue to honor. As far as how others are feeling about this year, I'm always down to learn. I'm always open to growing together as well. So please, always welcome here. I hope this is also a safe place for you to just freely express. But this is December 19th, Friday, JFX checking out. Happy 2025, going into 2026. Peace.